Welcome to LA's Listening Lounge. Stories you can hear and words you can feel. Tonight's story is a New Year's tale of unexpected detours, painful truths, and the kind of love that finds you right when you've stopped looking. So sit back, relax, and let this story wrap you in hope, healing, and new beginnings. Let's step into He Missed Midnight and Lost Me. Chapter 1. The Cancelled Countdown. Monica Lewis had already chosen her dress. It was a deep emerald green, silky, fitted, and daring enough to make her feel like the woman she was becoming. Her heels waited by the door. Her hair appointment was booked. Her heart was full of expectation, aching for the magic she always associated with New Year's Eve, the promise of possibility shimmering on the horizon. She and her boyfriend Darren had planned it for weeks. Champagne at midnight, a rooftop downtown, a kiss to seal the year, promises whispered in the cold night air. At 3:17 p.m., her phone rang. "Monica, they need me to stay longer," Darren said, his voice tight. This job ran over, the clients demanding more. Her excitement folded in on itself like a deflating balloon. Monica remembered last New Year's Eve, when Darren had promised that this year would be different. She wondered if promises always faded in the cold, slipping away like vapor as the old year crept out and the new one crept in. "Tonight?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady, though disappointment prickled beneath every word. "I'll make it up to you, I swear." She was quiet. The silence between them stretched thin, heavy with unsaid worries and unmet hopes. "I understand," she finally said. "Work is work." But doubt whispered where trust used to live, casting shadows in the corners of her heart. After they hung up, the apartment seemed to shrink around her. The purr of the heater was the only sound, mingling with the faint scent of her perfume lingering in the air. Her dress stayed on the hanger, its fabric cool beneath her fingertips. The heels remained untouched, their glossy finish catching the pale winter light. Then her phone buzzed again, this time from her best friend Kayla. "You still coming or not?" Monica responded yes, and she would be solo once again. Monica stared at the message, the silence pressing against her until a fresh breath of resolve filled her chest. And just like that, the road opened. 3 hours, a fresh city, a fresh countdown, maybe a fresh start. Chapter 2. The pothole that changed everything 30 minutes from town. Dark road, no streetlights. Then, bam. The car jolted so hard Monica's breath caught. The tire blew, sending a sickening shudder through the frame. She gripped the steering wheel, knuckles aching, panic rising fast. Why tonight? The air outside was bitter, her fingers numb as she fumbled for her phone. Her thoughts spun as she dialed Darren. He'd promised this year would be different, that he'd be there for her. She needed to hear his voice, to feel that steady calm he'd always given her before the arguments, before the distance between them stretched so wide. Voicemail. Again she tried, pressing the phone to her ear, wishing he'd just answer. Voicemail. Her mind raced. Was he still upset about their argument earlier? Did he even care that she was stranded now? The loneliness pressed in, sharper than the cold. She wiped away a tear, hating herself for it. That's when headlights slowed behind her, cutting through the darkness. Monica's heart thudded in her chest as a man got out, tall, calm, his long coat fluttering in the wind. "Everything okay?" Monica managed a shaky breath. "Flat tire. I was on my way into town." He knelt by the wheel, inspecting the damage. "That's more than a flat. That pothole destroyed your rim." Monica's stomach twisted. She thought about how much a tow would cost, about Darren not picking up, about this whole night slipping away. "Do you have roadside service?" he asked. "Yes, but everything's backed up tonight." She tried to sound calm, but the uncertainty and worry about being alone crept into every word. "I'll call a tow myself," he offered. She hesitated, torn between relief and suspicion. She didn't want to owe anyone, especially a stranger. "You don't have to." "I know." He dialed, spoke efficiently, waited with her, silent but present. Monica found herself steadied by his quiet confidence, her panic beginning to retreat. When the truck arrived, Monica reached for her wallet, feeling the weight of gratitude and embarrassment. He stopped her. "Let me cover it." "No, that's too much." She didn't want to accept, didn't want to seem helpless, didn't want Darren or anyone to think she couldn't handle things on her own. "It's the last night of the year," he said gently. "Let's start yours on a good note." As the tow truck drove away and the stranger's words lingered in the cold air, Monica felt something unfamiliar, a sense of hope nudging aside her panic. She didn't know his name yet, but for the first time that night, she believed things could change. Chapter 3. Strangers at Midnight. Kayla scooped Monica up from the tow company, her laughter ringing out warm and bright in the icy dark. Monica melted into the embrace, grateful for the anchor of friendship, the scent of Kayla's coat, and the pulse of life moving around them. "Girl, your New Year already got drama," Kayla teased, her eyes shining. Monica managed a smile, though inside she felt raw, her nerves still buzzing from the brush with disaster. Downtown drummed with possibility. Lights splattered across wet pavement. Shop windows glowed gold and inviting. Music thudded from somewhere close, the bass a living heartbeat Monica could feel in her chest. She inhaled the chill that carried notes of sweet cider and wood smoke, mingling with the laughter that bounced between buildings. Fire pits painted faces orange and made hands reach for warmth. People spun and danced, their joy defiant, as if the past could be shaken off with every movement. Monica spotted him through the shifting crowd, the man from the roadside, now with another. She stilled. Her breath caught, not in fear, but in a new, fluttering anticipation. He noticed her, and the surprise that crossed his face mirrored her own. "You okay?" he asked, concern threaded through his voice. Monica searched herself for an answer. She found it surprisingly genuine. "Because of you," she replied, the words tasting like relief. She realized she wanted to be seen as capable, but also needed someone to care. The contradiction felt sharp, but for a moment it softened around him. Introductions spilled out. His name was Julian Brooks, calm, self-assured, with eyes that seemed to weigh possibilities. He worked in law, and Monica wondered if that explained the quiet steadiness she'd leaned on earlier. His friend Marcus was magnetic, owner of a nearby bar, laughter loud and easy. The four drifted into the night. Monica pressed her hands around a paper cup of cocoa, feeling the heat seep into her skin, grounding her. She savored the creamy sweetness, letting it soothe her frayed edges. They tried street food, flavors sharp and unfamiliar, watched performers juggle fire, the flames reflecting in Monica's widened eyes. Laughter spilled from her lips, real and uncontrolled. For the first time in weeks, she felt part of something, a constellation of connection, not just a solitary planet spinning alone. The music grew louder. Monica let herself move to its rhythm, letting it shake loose old anxieties. Her body felt awake, alive, each beat a reminder that she was still here, still capable of joy. The air buzzed with anticipation, possibility flickering in each flash of confetti and stranger's smile. As the crowd pressed toward the Grand Theater for the final countdown, Monica quietly stepped aside, the noise receding. She dialed Darren. Voicemail. She tried again, hoping for his voice to anchor her, to tether her to the life she thought she wanted. Voicemail again. Each failed call chipped away at her hope, leaving her exposed and uncertain. The absence felt heavy, a question she couldn't answer, a wound she couldn't close. She returned to the group, Julian waiting, holding out a glass of virgin champagne. His gaze was steady, gentle, inviting her into the moment. "Happy New Year," Julian said. "May it bring you clarity in everything your heart desires." Behind his words, Monica felt a quiet promise that she could want things for herself, that it was okay to hope. The ball dropped. Confetti whirled, paper stars brushing Monica's cheeks and hair. People cheered and embraced, the loudness swelling and then fading into laughter and song. Monica lifted her glass, the cool bubbles prickling her lips. She glanced at Julian, at Kayla, at Marcus, letting the warmth of the cocoa and the music in her bones mingle with the fragile hope inside her. In those seconds between countdown and midnight, Monica's heart twisted painfully as she thought of Darren's silence, its echo reminding her of every moment she'd felt invisible, uncertain. But then she saw Julian's quiet support, the new laughter, the promise of fresh beginnings reflected in the night. She realized that healing wasn't an instant revelation, but a slow shift, a letting go of what hurt, a reaching toward what could be. Monica breathed in the present, letting possibility seep into her, and felt something break apart, a sadness she'd carried too long. In its place, something new took root. The belief that she could want more, that she could change, that hope could be hers again. Chapter 4. The Truth on Her Screen. The next morning came with a hangover of confusion and curiosity. Monica scrolled her phone, then froze on a picture. Monica had never questioned Darren's late nights at work or his vague explanations. She trusted him implicitly. Darren stood in a hospital room. Beside him was Simone, a woman he'd always referred to as someone just helping with business. She cradled a newborn. The caption read, "Welcome to the world, baby girl." Monica's hands shook. A cold sweat prickled her skin as memories of Darren's reassurances replayed in her mind, each one now sounding hollow. She called him, voice trembling. He answered, his tone wary. "I didn't know how to tell you," he admitted. "I was there for the birth." "For her birth?" Monica whispered, the question sharp and raw. Silence stretched between them, heavy and accusing. Finally, Darren broke it, his words rushed and defensive. "Monica, listen. I'm not the father. Simone needed help. She asked me to support her through the delivery, that's all. I was just doing a favor. It's not what you think." The explanation hung in the air, not quite dispelling Monica's doubts. Her heart still shattered in slow motion, every detail twisting deeper. Kayla entered the room, immediate concern etched on her face. "Monica, what happened? You look like you've seen a ghost." Monica swallowed, her voice shaky. "It's Darren. I saw a picture of him in the hospital with Simone holding a baby. He said he was just helping her, that he isn't the father. But I don't know what to think anymore. Everything he's told me feels off." Kayla squeezed Monica's hand, her tone gentle but firm. "You're not sure what to believe?" Monica shook her head, tears threatening. "No, I want to trust him, but I can't ignore how things don't add up." Kayla didn't sugarcoat it. "Start digging." And what they uncovered was darker than betrayal, but neither of them was prepared for the secret that would turn Monica's world upside down. Chapter 5. The Scam Behind the Smile. Simone wasn't just a mistress. She and Darren were partners, in crime, in betrayal, in stealing what Monica thought was hers. Fake startups, stolen investments, shared victims. They'd used money and worse, Monica's name, her credit, her identity, her future. Monica stared at the paperwork, her hands trembling as she realized her future had been stolen one signature at a time. Shock slammed into her chest, followed by a cold wave of anger and fear. The world felt unstable, like the ground beneath her had shifted and left her stranded, exposed. When Julian found out, he went still. "This is federal," he said. 2 days later, the FBI knocked, sharp, relentless. They laid out everything, fraudulent property in her name, credit opened without her knowledge, thousands in stolen funds. Monica's heart hammered as agents unfolded the details, each fact a fresh blow. Darren had no idea she knew. Julian became her legal shield, day by day, court by court, truth by truth. And somewhere between paperwork and prayer, love quietly grew. Chapter 6. Healing and Handcuffs. The arrest came in spring. Darren tried to call her. She didn't answer. Monica felt her breath catch when the verdict was read. Her mind reeled with memories, the betrayals, the late nights spent doubting herself, the ache of loss. Fear twisted into relief, and for the first time in months, a small spark of hope flickered. Julian stood beside her in court as both Darren and Simone were taken away. She saw the regret cloud Darren's eyes, a flash of the man she once thought she knew. Monica wondered briefly what drove him to twist the truth until neither of them recognized it. "She was the worst mistake I ever made," Darren said in chains. The words stung, but Monica realized they no longer defined her. She met his stare, steady, silent. She didn't respond. Her miracle stood beside her in a fitted gray suit and steady faith. Julian's presence was a quiet promise. "You are not alone." Healing took time. Old wounds reopened as Monica sifted through what was broken and what could be rebuilt. Forgiveness was not a single moment, but a series of choices, each one harder than the last. Love waited patiently. In the quiet spaces between court dates and restless nights, Monica learned that healing was possible, one small act of hope at a time. Chapter 7. The Promise They Almost Missed. Julian proposed on the same street where they met again after the tow. Snow fell softly. catching in Monica's hair and dusting their shoulders as the city lights glimmered above them, reflected in frozen puddles and the shine of passing cars. The air was crisp, stinging their cheeks and filling their lungs with the chill of winter, making their breath visible in the glow of a nearby street lamp. 3 years ago, a pothole changed everything, he said, his voice steady despite the tremble in his hands. Will you marry me? She said yes through tears. Julian's heart raced as he watched her smile through tears, realizing how far they'd come since that fateful night. For a moment, all the sounds of the city faded, leaving only the thudding of their hearts and the distant hush of snow settling on concrete. They planned their wedding for New Year's Eve. Same city, same theater, same countdown. Epilogue. Midnight Truth, 3 years later. Monica wore white where Emerald once waited, a promise fulfilled, a new chapter begun. As she stood beside Julian, she remembered the weight she once carried and how, after all the storms they'd weathered, she felt lighter than she ever had in Julian's arms. Julian held her hands as the room counted down. 10, 9, 8. At midnight, fireworks burst overhead. He kissed her slowly. Happy New Year, Mrs. Brooks. She rested her head on his chest. And happy beginning to us. Thank you for spending your time here in LA's Listening Lounge, where every story reminds us that new chapters start with courage, clarity, and a little faith. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories you can hear and words you can feel. Until next time, I'm LA Logan, and may your next chapter be your best chapter yet.